The topic of today is preparing for long-term sound level measurements. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Markus Becker. I'm the Technical Director here at NTI Audio. And sitting next to me is Bruno Nix, our Product Manager who is responsible for the handheld instruments. We have prepared a couple of topics for today, starting with some applications for long-term measurements. We will dig deeper into the instrument setup, the settings that have to be adjusted before you start such a long-term measurement, including logging and so on. We will have a look on the events and the scheduler feature of the XL2. We have also prepared a practical presentation. I will say something about the different file formats that are being generated by the instrument and the possibilities to post-process logged data. We will also take a look at available accessories and options before we come to the conclusion, which will include the Q&A session where we will at latest answer your question and provide some auxiliary information. The overall duration of today's webinar should be in the range of about 30 minutes, at least the presentation. Here you can see a number of typical applications for a long-term sound level measurement or monitoring. So we're talking about street, airport, train noise, construction sites, or neighborhood surveillance. Could be industrial noise or measuring the noise exposure of humans at work. All these are typical applications where we want to measure over a longer period of time, possibly even monitor what has been happening during that logging period, and of course also have the final measurement results at the end of that recording period available. In this presentation, we will mainly refer to the functionality of the XL2 acoustic and audio analyzer. So before we start such a long-term measurement, it is absolutely essential that we set up the instrument correctly, and one of the key points here is the analyzer input range. This input range, the selection of the proper input range, depends strongly whether you are expecting an environment with, for instance, very low sound levels or very high sound levels. You have to make sure that the analyzer is prepared properly so that no clipping occurs, for instance, in case of very loud environments, or that it is prepared for very low levels in a very quiet environment. And alongside with this range setting, which I'm going to show you later again, please keep in mind that you have to use an appropriate measuring microphone. There are different microphones available which are better fitted for low levels, for high levels, so please not only adjust the analyzer range on the instrument, but also make sure that you are using a proper microphone for your application. The second preparation you have to do is to decide which recording mode shall be executed. We have 4 different options on the XL2, starting with the manually controlled, we call that the continuous mode. So this means you have to press a button on the instrument to start the recording, and you have again to press a button to stop it. So this is a completely manually controlled operation. Second alternative is you can predefine the duration of the recording, and then you just have to press the start button. From then on, the instrument will measure and record all the data and do that as long as this predefined period is elapsing. And the last 2 options are the repeated recordings. This means that the instrument will record all the sound levels, for instance, that you have activated for a certain period of time, let's say, for instance, half an hour. And after that half an hour, it will save the measured data in a file and automatically restart the next measurement, the next logging period, which will again take half an hour, and so on and so forth. And this repeated recording has a special case, what we call the synchronized repeated. Here, the start point of every repeated period is always at the full or at the half hour of the real-time clock, the built-in real-time clock of the instrument. This is a mode that is required by some national standards. Now let me provide some explanations about the report and the log file. Let's start with the report file. This is a file that is going to be automatically saved, created and saved by the XL2 analyzer at the end of the recording. And you have to decide what shall be the contents of this report file. So you have the values, the broadband values, which you have to select. That can be a user-defined selection, or you can say, I want to have all available measurement results in that report file. And you can optionally also add the spectra to that final report. So keep in mind the report file only saves the final measurement results at the end of the recording period. So for instance, the LAAQ over the full recording period and as it is at the end of that period. In contrast to the report file is the log file, and here the instrument saves these measurements, the active measurements, in a predefined interval. So you have the chance by that to take a look at the course over time during that recording period. You will not only see the end value, you will also see what has happened in between. So here you have to decide in which interval these data shall be logged. Just keep in mind, by the way, if you go down to the minimum, the 100 milliseconds logging interval, that this is a feature that is only available if you have the extended acoustic pack installed on the XL2 analyzer. Secondly, you can optionally, like in the report file, you can add the spectra. But here again, not only the spectra at the end of the recording period, but at all these intervals. Also optional is the recording of the audio file. So this file will give you the chance to listen to what has happened during your recording period over time. This is a very comfortable feature which allows you to better identify specific events that have happened during the recording. We strongly recommend, if you activate the audio file recording, to use the compressed plus automated gain control mode, because this takes the least possible memory and in addition allows you to listen also to very low levels that have occurred during your recording period. The linear or uncompressed audio file recording, by the way, is again only available if you have the extended acoustic pack option. And last but not least, again, mandatory, you have to decide which values shall be logged in your file. You can choose a customized selection of measurement values, or you can decide whether all possible combinations of time and frequency ratings and so on shall be saved in the log file. Let's take a look at the logging interval, which is a very important parameter in the setup. For instance, if we look for machinery noise, or if you want to execute a really high resolution analysis of an event, so then you could go down to the 100 millisecond log interval. Normally we recommend the 1 second. This is the most practical, the most frequently used log interval, for instance, for traffic noise, construction site noise, and so on. This is a good resolution to still be able to identify specific events without saving too much data, which of course means a higher consumption of the available memory. However, there are also some national standards who are prescribing a specific log interval, which can be 5 minutes or even 15 minutes, for instance, for club neighborhood noise monitoring. So please make yourself acquainted with the national legislation in your country to make sure that you are applying the correct log interval if there is a standard that applies on your application. And some words about the memory consumption. The XL2 comes along by default with a 4 GB SD card memory included. And now let's assume we have the 1 second log interval. This would be sufficient to continuously log, for instance, 5 wideband sound pressure levels for 500 days. If we add the spectra to these 5 wideband levels, we would still be able to record continuously 100 days. Now, if we add the sound file, this is of course a feature that consumes more memory. If we do it in the uncompressed mode, there are still 96 hours left for the audio file recording, plus again all the level results and the spectra. And somehow the worst case would be to go for the linear or the uncompressed audio file recording plus all levels and spectra. Then still your instrument will be able to continuously, seamlessly record 8 hours of time. Please keep in mind that the XL2 also supports SD cards up to 32 GB. So you can boost these figures that I have just given you in this list by a factor of 8 if required. This is supported by the XL2. Some words about events and scheduler. Events are incidents that you want to highlight in your log file, incidents of specific importance. For instance, if you are monitoring traffic noise and then there is for some reason a very loud noise which you may want to exclude from your measurement or which you want to just to highlight. So this is what we call events. And there are two possibilities to log or to save these events. The one is the level threshold. So you define a specific threshold, and if the incoming sound pressure level exceeds that threshold, such an event marker will be saved together with the log data. The alternative is the manual key press. You can buy this little option that you can see here on the picture with 4 different buttons. So by pressing any of these buttons, the corresponding event will be saved to the log file. And also please notice that it is possible to set up the instrument in a way that the audio file recording only starts for a specific time if such an event happens. So this is a nice feature which allows you to save memory but still be able to listen to specific incidents after the logging, after the recording has been completed. The scheduler is a related feature which allows you to pre-program the instrument in a way that it starts at a specific time with the recording for, again, the defined duration. So you may, for instance, at midday, program the instrument that it starts, let's say at 8 o'clock in the evening until 2 o'clock in the morning to automatically record the sound pressure levels during that period. So that takes away a lot of stress from you. Maybe you are busy with other things during that time. You don't have to think of that. The instrument will execute this measurement automatically. You can even do that recurrently. So for instance, if you want to monitor the club noise in the neighborhood, you could say every evening during the week when this club is open, this automated recording shall be executed. Okay, we are at the point of our practical presentation. My demo setup here is pretty simple. I have an XL2 connected to my PC via USB link, and I have the XL2 projector software running on my PC, which is, by the way, a free software package that you can download from our support site. Here you can see now the content of the screen of the XL2 on my desk here, and I'm starting as in my presentation with the range setting. It is just right now adjusted from 10 to 110 dB, and I will increase that to 30 to 130, which is more appropriate to my application here. You can see we have a very nice wide dynamic range of 100 dB, so it shouldn't be a problem to properly adjust that range for your application. And by the way, you see also this bar which indicates you the current sound pressure level. That is a good indicator that assists you in selecting the proper range. The next step here is the recording mode. Remember, we had the continuous mode, which is completely manually controlled. We have the one-time recording where we have to set the duration. For instance, I could increase that to 20 seconds, which is of course a very short time, but for this presentation it's okay. Or I could choose the repeat or the repeat synchronized mode. But let's go for the one-time off. Then the next hint I want to give you here is the saving mode. Please go for the automated saving. This is the one that we recommend to be on the safe side, that no data will be lost. Automated. Then the reporting. The settings for the report file. You remember the report file is the one that saves the end data of my measurement. So I could say, yes, I want to have not only the wideband levels, but also the spectra saved into that file. And here I could say, please include all sound levels, A-weighted, C-weighted, Z-weighted, fast, impulse, slow, whatever is thinkable. All combinations would then be automatically added to that report file. Or I could say, no, I want to have only these 4 values. Maybe I can even add a 5th one. So I could say ZF minimum. I have the maximum and the minimum now. So these 5 values would then be added to my report file. Next is the logging. You remember the logging was the one where we are saving more data in this custom defined time interval. Here we define this time interval. Right now it is 1 second. I could amend it. I could go on to 100 milliseconds, but 1 second is a pretty good choice. So let it be there. I can again say, yes, I want to add the spectra. I can say even, yes, I want to add the audio recording. I could do that permanently throughout the whole recording period, or say, no, I only want to save this audio file if an event has happened. And same as with the report, but completely independent. You make your own choice here in the log setup. You can decide whether all levels or the customized selection down here shall be added to your log file. Next, the event trigger. This one is switched off, so let's activate it. Let's go for the automated triggering, which means that any sound pressure level above 85 dB will create such an event in my log file. I could also extend the definition by saying, okay, these 85s have to be present for at least 1 second or 2 seconds, whatever. So I have different possibilities to start the event, to stop it, to define which is my reference value, and so on. And here, it's the same setting as in the log setup. My audio recording will only be active in case of an event in this format. And I could also add here the duration, how long these audio file recordings shall happen every time an event happens. And in the bottom line, you see down here on the status line, this is the current sound pressure level. So this may also assist me in selecting the proper threshold up here. So when we go now here to our measurement screen, I will now start the measurement. You can see here now the countdown timer starts. These 20 seconds duration will be displayed. How long is the elapsed time? And during this period, I am now recording my sound pressure levels that I have defined in the log file. And then they will be also added to the report file. You see here, it's finished. I confirm to save these data, and I have it now on my SD card. Please keep in mind that these values that you see here on the measurement screen do not necessarily have to be the same ones like in the log file, so they are completely independent. Of course, you can choose the same ones, but you're absolutely free. You can log, let's say, all A-weighted levels, and you can look at the C-weighted, so you're absolutely free to combine that according to your demands. Let's get back to our presentation. This is a typical outcome of a log period, pretty comfortable log period. So these are the files that have been created by the XL2 at the end of my recording. The top file here, the XL2 file, is a binary system file which contains all the end data of all possible measurements plus the instrument settings. This is used for internal reasons. And here we have the text files with the log data and the report. And here RPT stands for repeat. So if I have a repeat recording mode, this will be indicated by this addition. So these extensions indicate whether it's a log file or a report file. And this applies on the wideband levels and on the RTI, which is the spectra level. Again, log and report files. And here in between, we have the sound file, the recorded sound file of our event. And here you can already see it has been recorded with the automated gain control. So these are the files, again, that are automatically created and saved by the XL2 on the internal SD memory card, from where you can transfer them to your PC for post-processing. So let's take a brief look on these files and also on the possibilities to post-process these data. It's of course important to know what options you have before you start the measurement so that you can set up the instrument accordingly. We have the report and the log files, as I just showed to you. We have Excel templates available. They are free of charge from our support site. You can download them from there. They assist you in creating simple reports, including time graphs for your customer. And the most comfortable solution that has just come to the market these days is the Data Explorer software. I will also take a brief look on that afterwards. This is a very comfortable software which supports a lot of post-processing, editing features, reporting features of your log data. But let's start with the simple stuff, with the log files. Actually, up here we have the report file. Report file includes the end data of my recording period, as I've mentioned before. So here apparently I have decided that I just want to have these 3 values in my report file. And here are some additional information about the instrument settings. Down here I have a log file. So here you can see I have apparently chosen many more measurements that shall be logged. And I see all the interim results of these measurements for each log interval. Here I have a 1 second log interval apparently, so you can over time exactly follow what has happened during my recording. The second alternative, as shown before, is my Excel template. For instance, the noise report. So I'm importing a log file here to that Excel spreadsheet. I can add some additional information like the location where I have recorded my measurement, the client, the date, and so on, the environmental conditions. I can decide which values I want to see on the front sheet of my report. And I can also add these time graphs. And again, here I can decide which values shall be included in my report over time. So I have a couple of possibilities to align my report to your demands or the ones of your customer. The more comprehensive solution, however, here is the Data Explorer. So here you can see the recording of the measurement values over time. Please let me briefly open another file, because what I want to show here, you see here these colored bands, and these are actually events. These are, for instance, events that have been created automatically by the instrument due to the high sound pressure level but also events that may have been manually created or edited after the recording. So I found here something, and I can add this marker. So this is a feature to highlight a specific event, maybe even to exclude this event, this short period here from the overall calculation, because this is a kind of noise that I do not want to have included in my measurement. This is a very comfortable feature, and here you can see actually the outcome, the benefit of creating events during your measurement. They just make your life simpler and easier after the recording to identify what has happened during the recording. Yeah, we are coming close to the end. Some words about accessories and options. I mentioned before that we have these 4 different measurement microphones here at NTI available for you. So you can choose whether you want to have, for instance, a class 1 microphone, which goes down to 16 dBA, very low noise levels. You can have the M2215, which is the opposite, which is prepared for very high sound pressure levels, or here these interim solutions. Please make sure that you have the appropriate microphone before you start your recording. Second, of course, especially when we talk about long-term recordings, make sure that you're not running out of current. So please connect your XL2 to the mains power. Very important side note, even if the mains power would fail during the recording, the data that has been logged until that moment will be saved on the instrument. They will not be lost. Of course, we cannot enter the continued measurement when there is no power, but during the whole time when the power is available, the data will be automatically logged, and even in case of a power breakdown, they will not be lost. Some words about the SD card, the memory card in the instrument. Please, a very strong recommendation, if you want to have a larger memory card, buy it from NTI Audio. The reason is very simple. There are lots of standards and features and functionalities and specifications for these SD cards on the market, but it is quite a demanding task to find out which SD cards, and especially controllers of these SD cards, are really able to be used for this logging. Because if you buy the wrong card, it could end up that you have interrupted logging on your instrument because the onboard SD card controller cannot cope with the amount and the speed of incoming data. So to be on the safe side, please buy the cards from us, because we will only sell you tested and verified cards. If you have the extended acoustic pack option, by the way, you will see this additional section here in this pull-down menu, which gives you information about the remaining memory on your SD card. And here is a live indicator which shows you the load of the SD card, saying that the higher the indicator, the more problematic it may become. So overload would mean that some data are not being logged because the SD card is not fast enough. With the SD cards that we are selling, you will certainly not encounter such an unlikely event, so you will always have the indicator here in the low range, so you're on the safe side. And last but not least, here these PC software products that you can get from us, the projector, which is free of charge, the Excel reporting tools that I showed to you, again available free of charge from our support site, and this new product, the Data Explorer software for comprehensive post-processing. Well, we're at the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us or any of our subsidiaries or independent sales partners worldwide. We will be certainly happy to assist you and provide the required answer. So let me briefly take a look at the Q&A section. Okay, I see there have been some question again regarding the log interval, the 1 second, which is actually our recommendation, which is, I think, the best choice for most applications. Then a question for the XL2 new firmware. That is available also for free from our website. You just have to register under My NTI Audio, and then you get direct access to the latest firmware package free of charge for your XL2 instrument. And by the way, if you're interested in this Data Explorer software that I just showed to you, this one, even this software is as a demo package available for you free of charge. So you can download it from our website. You can take a look at it, play a little bit with it. And if you think, yes, that is an interesting feature, you just have to buy the corresponding option that will be installed on the XL2 instrument. Because with the demo package, you can only look at the existing demo projects, but you cannot yet import data from your XL2 instrument. This import is only supported if you buy the corresponding option. But for getting a first impression, the demo version is free of charge. Then I see one question again regarding the difference between report file and log file. Just to say it briefly in a few words, report file is only the overall measurement results over the full recording period. Log file is all the detailed results after every log interval over the full recording period. There's many more information in the log file, so that allows you to get a better, a more detailed view of what has happened during the recording. Then I see a question regarding the markers, again from our new software. The question is whether these sections can also be edited, whether they can be analyzed individually, whether they can be excluded. The answer is yes, this is all supported in this software. I can take a brief look here. For instance, in the report file, you can see here, these are all these markers that I have added, and I can decide, I can look the individual results for each section. I can exclude them from the overall calculation, and so on and so forth. We will offer a specific webinar on this software in the near future, so that you learn more about the features that are supported in here. But just here for the time being, it's a very comprehensive, very helpful feature. Maybe just one more word. You see here this blue bar. This is the audio file. So when I click on this bar, you will hear the recording, which is perfectly synchronized to my measurement down here. You see the cursor is moving slowly, so I'm listening to what is happening, and I can see the corresponding measurement result down here. So this gives me a perfect correlation between the audio recording and the measurement.